Across All Arenas podcast. And what up, man? You just said that this is our sixth episode. We're getting up there, man. We're keeping consistent in putting these out, and
We're consistent in putting the podcast out. We're just not consistent in social media, and that's mainly my fault.
hey, it totally fine. I think as long as we are getting these podcasts out that are being distributed to, you know, Spotify, Apple Music, basically anywhere where you get your pods, like that's the most important thing, obviously. But then yeah, social media, it can be tough, but we'll get there.
Yeah, well, we'll get there one day.
So anyways, we're gonna start this off with the uh, news across all arenas. As this podcast hits all sports and basically all things too. As we've starting to realize that we can do. But for this segment, news across all arenas. So the first thing we'll hit off is Luka Doncic getting his revenge game or playing against his former team for the first time, the Lakers versus the Mavs in LA. And wow.
I didn't get a chance to see the game last night, so I did see some of the highlights. Apparently Lakers fans were cheering "Thank you, Nico," which was
Yes.
diabolical work.
Yes. Oh, and I don't know, I think this is real. And I was reading through the comments, but on the TNT broadcast, they put they panned over to Nico Harrison, and on the name bar it said Nico Harrison finessed by
Oh no,
finessed by Rob Pelinka. And so I had to look at the comments. Is this real? And apparently, I think it was, because I kept looking at the comments. People are saying it was fake, but then there was multiple people saying no, it was real. I saw it with my own eyes on TV. So uh, we have this little shtick that we like to call bonehead move of the day, and that goes to Mr. Nico
Mr. Nico.
Harrison. We actually wanted to give him the bonehead move a few weeks ago, but felt like maybe it was already too late to give it. But it seems as that it's still
It's still
current.
relevant.
And so, Nico Harrison, you are the bonehead uh, guy of the day.
I think they have one more match in Dallas.
Yeah.
So you know that that game, I think, because Luca had 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, a triple double,
He had a triple
and
double.
his Lakers debut against the Mavericks, or I guess in his Lakers, in his first career game as a Laker against the Mavericks,
Against the
right?
Mavs, against
So
his old team,
yeah,
yeah.
so I think when he goes back to Dallas, because that you said the line was set at 30.5 points for
Yeah,
Luca.
it actually was, it went up, because it was at, like, 26, and then it jumped up, but I think it was more of a overreaction to his last game where he scored 32 points.
So
Um,
when he goes back to Dallas, he's gonna score 30 points.
he's gonna score 30 or maybe get a 50-piece chicken nuggets, I don't know, we'll see.
You might get another 70. He's only
If
got 70
anything,
one time.
usually when this happens, like, former players that go to their old teams, they'll get booed, right? But to be
Right.
honest, he's gonna be praised, because
Yeah.
this was not his fault. He had no idea he was being traded. So if anything, when that happens, the bonehead move of the day will probably go back to
Nico
Nico
Harrison.
Harrison, because he's gonna be looking like a fool, especially if they get
Oh.
blown out or whatnot. And then even more like worse is when your star player that you shipped out to LA, and then the guy that you got back in return in Anthony Davis is on the bench. Now you look
Yeah.
like even more of a bonehead.
I mean, people have been saying it, right? The trade doesn't make sense now. You probably should have waited to the off season to do anything. And I mean, I don't know if Dallas just I knew I knew the report said that it was more of like they they didn't think Luka would sign the supermax, or like whether it's like conditioning problems or whatever. But I truly think they didn't want him to go to any other team besides the Lakers. Because I mean, if you look at the Lakers, they're not before they got Luka, they weren't like yeah, they were fifth in the West, but it's
Now
not
they're
like they were
fourth.
gonna. No, now they're third.
Oh, now they're third.
I think the last time I saw, I think they're
I think
third.
the last they're still at fourth, but they're still looking good. I mean,
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, no one would have thought that they were, like a serious contender, right? Before Luca. But now you got Luca, and now
I think the West
you're
should.
right. They're fourth in the Western Conference
Yeah,
because I think Denver had a game last night.
it's was
So
yeah. So
so anyway,
it's Oklahoma City Thunder. They're one, and then Memphis is two, Denver at three, and then Lakers. But they're all pretty close in the win loss column, and I'm looking at those top teams above LA. Like when it comes to the playoffs, I don't know. I think I'll take the Lakers.
I think
Th-
the I think
I
the
mean, you
thing
saw
is,
the Denver. They routed Denver just a few
yeah,
days ago.
right,
So
and, like, I don't know if that will carry over to the playoffs because the playoffs is a long haul,
yeah.
and without a big man, you can't really
Well,
make that
yeah.
stretch.
That's true.
So, them being in Denver now is not really relevant, like, it's cool to talk about, like, "Oh my god, they beat Nikola Jokic, they held him to 12 points." We were watching that game
Yeah,
at a bar, right? So you're like, wow, like this is crazy. Like the Lakers could really, they might actually do it. But you think about the playoffs, you think about, how long that is, and for some of those players on the Lakers, they haven't seen the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like LeBron seen the playoffs, Luka seen the playoffs. Austin Reeves, I think was part of that
well,
team.
he's been in the
He's been,
playoffs.
but he hasn't won a championship. Well,
They
he
haven't
wasn't
won a
part of that
championship,
2020
but
team.
I don't think when it comes to the playoff moments, I don't think he'll shy away from it.
No,
The,
no, no, of
so
course not.
they you're right. Yeah, basketball is a game of runs. So whoever has the momentum, and I think LA is a team to watch out. And as a holder of a 12-1 ticket on them to win the Lakers, I
I
mean, of
thought you
course.
said it was 14-1.
No, actually, you're right. Yeah.
It was
It
14 to
dropped
1
down. When I
to
got it,
12 to 1.
it was tw when I got it was at 14, and then, like, the next day, it was 12. I don't know what they are
Yeah.
now,
The
but,
last time I checked, they were plus 750 to
oh,
win.
okay.
So your
Hey.
value was still
Yeah. So, anyways, that's interesting to see. Football news, if you wanna take this one, your boy Brock
Yeah.
Purdy.
Brock Purdy, John Lynch, 49ers started talking contract negotiations. Obviously, we know Brock Purdy, this is last year in his rookie contract. So they gotta pay the guy. I mean, we've seen what the guy can do. He's led them to Super Bowls, 2, NFC championship games. If they can build the right pieces around Brock Purdy, whatever they get back from Debo Samuel, because they're gonna find a trade for Debo Samuel, right? Whether that's, another number one wide receiver or whatever that trade package looks like.
Do you think that more than likely is gonna happen that Debo's gone?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're trying to find a trade partner. So
So that's it for
he's
Debo
probably, yeah,
in San Francisco. He's gone.
yeah. I think he's gone. They're probably gonna classify him as a post June 1st. They're gonna have it classified as a post one or a post June 1st designation. So like they'd have to carry some dead cap from his contract salary, or like whatever that salary, whatever that contract looked like.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously they're trying to do it before, I think it's like March 15th or March 18th,
Yeah.
before they get all those, before they hit the cap hit or the dead cap on his contract. But I think, and I mean, I said it before on the pod. Now that Robert Saleh's back with the Niners, he has relationships with the Jets, Devontae Adams to the 49ers for Debo Samuel and a trade package. You throw some draft picks in there, you know what I mean?
So if you brought up Devonte Adams, so is there also a package deal with if Devonte Adams comes?
No, do not.
Does
I swear
Aaron
to
Rodgers
God,
go?
do not. No, 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 no. We have our quarterback and Brock Purdy.
You
Okay,
need a backup quarterback. So Brock Purdy's your backup and Aaron Rodgers is your QB1.
no, no. God, please.
Oh man.
God, I if Aaron Rodgers goes to the if Aaron Rodgers goes to the 49ers, I will not watch. I swear to God, I will not watch the 90s this season. I don't care if they won the Super Bowl. Oh my God.
Speaking of other QBs, there was a report today that Mr. Tom Brady
Oh yeah, of
trying to
course.
recruit him to possibly the Raiders. So we'll see
I
what
mean, that'd be
happens with that.
huge. I
Yeah,
mean, nothing good for the Raiders.
yeah, we'll see. I mean,
I mean, at this
they have
point,
nobody to
who
throw to, really. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying. Like anybody better than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell at this point, and hell, even Desmond Ritter.
yeah.
If you can get an upgrade from that, you could get Aaron Rodgers, and there'll be a better team.
Man,
He's
the Raiders QB room was a shit
oh,
show
oh,
last year. Like not the fact that like, who they had sucked. I'm not saying that, or maybe they did. I'm just saying that like it was a total shit show as far as injuries. Like first you
yeah,
started off with Gardner Minshew, he gets hurt, Aiden O'Connor gets hurt, and then you're left with Spencer
Desmond
Rattler.
Ritter.
Like or Ritter,
No,
or
no, no,
which
Desmond Ritter.
just
Desmond
yeah,
Ritter.
Rattler, Riddler, Des which whatever. They're the same players to me.
Tomato, tomato, same
Yeah,
thing.
tomato, tomato, basically. But
Hey,
yeah,
but I will say though, it was Aiden O'Connell. He almost beat the Chiefs. If they didn't have that fuck up at the end of the game.
yeah. Well,
So Aiden O'Connell was good at some point. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited to see what that contract looks like for
yeah.
Brock, because he's definitely going to get paid uh a lot more dude than he got in
So
his
you
rookie
think
contract
he's gonna get upgraded from his apartment to a
to a
million
house.
dollar home?
He's gonna get a house for sure. He's married. He just
Yeah.
got married last year, so he's gonna have to get a house.
All right, we'll see what happens with that. Let's step into the ice. Mr. Alex Ovechkin still fucking playing hockey.
Yes,
He wanted
37 years old. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it,
so
y'all.
he needs about what
Alex,
12
he
goals?
needs 12 goals to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal scoring record at 894. And he just scored his goal last night against Calgary. They lost the game, but that doesn't matter because he scored a goal.
Yeah.
I have a future
Do you
at
really?
plus well, I have a future on Alex Ovechkin plus 170 that he'll break the record this season. And he's at 12 goals. And
And
now
we're in February, so you still got like at least two
there's
two and a half
there's
months.
yeah, so there's 15 games left for the Capitals, I think.
15?
Last 15, but it's spanned out in the 2 months, right?
Okay.
So it's almost the end of February, so we're getting into March. So
So as long as he
Alex Ovechkin,
scores at least maybe one or two
he
goals a
just has to
game,
score 1 goal
one
and the
goal a
rest of
game.
these yeah, 1 goal a game. So when the NHL came back from the 4 nations, he scored a hat trick. So that helps.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that helped you know what I
That's
mean?
3
So he
goals.
scored yeah, he scored 3 goals and the first game's back from the 4 nations face off, so it helps. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, Alex Ovechkin is still playing at 37 years old. And he still got it. I mean, you look at him at the power play, man, he
Oh,
that slap shot is
yeah, he's
something
ruthless.
else.
I mean,
That
yeah,
that slap
I
shot
feel a little
is
bitter about him beating us in the Stanley Cup a few years here
I yeah.
but
I was bitter, but I was so happy for him at the same time because Marc-Andre Fleury was playing for the Penguins at that time too, and then Marc-Andre Fleury played for the Golden Knights
Yeah.
for that year too. So um, the Penguins are always his kryptonite. So when he finally got over that kryptonite, it's like he might actually get the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But now I mean, I was happy for him. I couldn't be mad. I mean, I was mad that we lost. I couldn't be mad. If this is his only Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
then so be it. I'd rather see him win the, or I'd rather see him break this record because he's a natural goal scorer. Right? You look back and I didn't grow up watching hockey. I didn't grow up watching as much hockey as I do now. But I first knew about hockey through Sidney Crosby, through Alex Ovechkin, through Andrei Kopitar, all those guys, right? All the older veterans that we see now in the league. And, you see Ovechkin, he's just a natural born scorer. And he's only 12 goals away. And
Alright.
this record hasn't been, no one's talked about this since Wayne Gretzky broke the record in like the 90s.
Yeah.
So this is
So,
a long standing record. And Alex Ovechkin, he can get there.
all right. Well, then we'll see the next the remaining games in the regular season if he breaks it. You said we have some boxing news too.
Yes. So this rest of the segment is like all for me. I kind of did this selfishly. Um
You're a dick.
hey, you could have put some on there too. You did it.
That's fine.
So
Let's just speed up the process because we got a guest today, man.
we do. We do. So just real quickly, so Dmitry Bivol won in the rematch against Artur Beterbiev in their light heavyweight rematch. Um I didn't get to see the whole fight. I saw the highlights. It is very close. It was still a very close fight, like I thought. So Bivol won by majority decision. So somebody had it for Beterbiev. Two judges had it for Bivol. I just love seeing good boxing matches, man. I don't care who wins. I was supposed to bet on the match. I forgot, and when I found out that Bivol won, I was kind of pissed. 'Cause, I think he was the dog in the match, or in the fight, I should say. So, good for Bivol. He definitely deserves that win. He in that first fight, I felt like he got robbed. The second fight, just watching the highlights, is very close, but I think he deserves to win. There's definitely gonna be a third match, or sorry, a third fight. Whenever that is, I'm gonna make sure I'll be home. But I missed the match or the fight because this man right here brought out his past self,
I
Mr.
came out of
DJ Ryan
retirement.
Pineda. Oh, so side note, and there's we'll get to one more story and then we'll wrap this segment up. But this this guy is fucking great DJ. He's a fucking great DJ. So he had a gig at the Rock and Roll Marathon here in Vegas, and they asked him to DJ for like was like an
Like
hour
hour and a
20,
half.
hour and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
So he asked me to come along. I shot some stuff. I did some videos, some photos and all that. So that was cool. And that's why I
yeah.
missed the fight. But I mean,
You
it was
were like,
okay.
oh damn it, I should put money on it. But no, I appreciate you coming out. Yeah, I brought my younger self out last Saturday. You got to see the younger Ryne in his days of DJing. But
You talk about Alex Ovechkin at 37 playing hockey. This is Ryan Pineda at 38 DJ, and he still
hey man,
got
don't
it.
tell anyone my age.
Okay, sorry. He's
You
21 plus 17.
no man, it was great. It felt in that little piece of me felt like my younger self or just kind of like what I did in the past. And if there's ever opportunities like that again, I'm gonna take it. But no, it was cool. We had a good time. It was pretty exhilarating just playing high tempo music for the runners, and they looked like they were having a great time. I mean, it was
Oh yeah.
basically a race at a club. I mean, like, that's kind of what it was. Like,
Right.
right?
I mean, it's not a lot of marathons you see a DJ just in the middle of the
Yeah,
track and just like,
exactly.
well, not technically in the middle of the track,
And we had
but
a whole like stage. We had lights and
yeah.
The sound
Oh my
system
god.
was bumping, like,
Yeah.
there were cops there, like, "Oh, man, are they gonna tell me lower it down?" Right? But, nah, no, it was cool. But yeah, thanks for doing that and, tagging along, and maybe, in the future, there will be more of those where we can do those and, get more footage and whatnot.
So, one last thing,
Yeah.
actually, and so before we get to this, I kind of just want to shout out my brother Franco. He's an assistant coach. I've mentioned this before, but he's an
Shout out to
assistant coach.
Franco!
Shout out to Franco. He's an assistant coach to the UNLV Rebel Girls and Company, which is their hip hop team, their game day team. I mentioned they won the nationals competition last month, and they're going to compete in Worlds in April. So in about 2 months, 2.5 months, um, I will I will post a link if y'all want to help fundraise their efforts to get to Worlds. This is a dope team, and they worked their asses off to get to this point. Um, you can watch their hip hop performance on Instagram. We'll probably put their socials somewhere in the description. Um, but they're a dope team, and if you guys want to, well, not if you guys should, you guys should donate whatever I mean, whatever whatever dollar amount. Every dollar, every dollar means a lot. Um, so it yeah, it really mean a lot for me, and it really mean a lot to him for the team to get as much money as possible to get them back to Orlando. So shout out to them, and yeah, if y'all please please
We'll
please
get that
support this
link
team.
out and, so that you guys can, donate. So yeah, man. And last but not least, we have a retirement from
Diana Taurasi, the
yeah.
one and only Diana Taurasi, after 20 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury, calls it done, calls it quits. And just to quickly go through her accolades, three-time WNBA champion, three-time or two-time WNBA Finals MVP, 2004 WNBA Rookie of the Year, 11-time WNBA All-Star, 14-time All WNBA, five-time WNBA All-Scoring Champion. She's the WNBA's all-time scoring leader. She's a six-time Olympic gold
Damn,
medalist,
six-time Olympic gold medal?
six-time Olympic gold. I think it's the most gold medals in any men's, women's basketball
Hell
program,
yeah.
to say. So
How old is she
ve-
right now?
she's in her 40s, I think.
Like,
But
past 40s? Wow.
yeah,
That's
I think
crazy.
so. Yeah.
I mean,
So
6 Olympic gold me that's
sixth time. She was that good. She was that good.
but
They
but
brought
it's
her
not even the
on.
fact that's, like, she won 6 gold medals, it's the fact that, like, the time span of those
Yeah.
6, Olympic, games, like,
Yeah.
6, man, that's 4 years in
All
between.
6 yeah, all 6 gold medals for all of her 6 appearances, and all of her Olympic appearances, gold medals.
Crazy.
And then just to wrap it up, three-time NCAA champion with UConn, two-time NCAA tournament most outstanding player, and a
Wow.
two-time Naismith Player of the Year. An outstanding career. Diana
Well,
Taurasi, one of the best,
we want to
just
applaud you.
one
Come
of the
on, Andre,
best to ever step
applaud.
on the court.
Let's
Yes, yes,
applaud
one of the
Diana
best to ever
Taurasi.
step on the basketball court. I used to watch her highlights as a kid. I'd watch guys like Rajon Rondo, Steve Nash, Chris Paul back in the day. Because I used to play basketball as well. But this really is an end of an era too. Because Sue Bird, she's been retired, but then she played with
Yeah.
Diana Taurasi, and I used to watch Diana Taurasi in her prime. She could pass that. She could pass that rock, dog. You get a chance to
Gosh,
watch
I've
her
seen I've
highlights.
seen her play a few times. She's,
Dude,
definitely
she is dope to watch, and I've watched her a couple of times when I was working with the Aces, but man, she is dope. But yeah, congrats to her on a phenomenal
congrats.
career.
Alright, well, that wraps up news across all arenas. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a guest on today, Dmon Cotton, who is a former wrestler. He's a wrestling lover like us. So we're gonna get him on right after this, man. We have a special guest today. We have Dmon Cotton. Our first guest, man. He is a friend of ours, a former coworker of ours as well. But more than that, he's a friend. And Dmon Cotton, he is a wrestling fan just like us. He also used to wrestle as well. So, Damon, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to Across All Arenas.
Hey, I'm so glad to be on the show. I feel so honored. First guest on the show. Hey, Ryan, like you said, you used to be a professional wrestler. Started out here in Vegas, FSW. So wrestling, it's one of those things where I've always had a passion for wrestling, and to be able to be a professional wrestler, all of the media, the Super Bowl radio rows talking to athletes and all that good stuff. Wrestling will always be one of the coolest things I've ever done.
That's awesome. As just like, Andre and I, like, we, used to watch wrestling when we were younger. So when did you start watching wrestling? When did you fall in love with it?
I'd say it's one of those things that it's always been in my memory. Watching Monday Night Raw, watching SmackDown. I guess you could say I knew I was in love with the wrestling. John Cena is one of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
And for storyline purposes, I can't remember the actual year, but when Carlito first came into the WWE and John Cena was written off of TV, in real life to film the Marine.
Okay.
But the storyline was that he was stabbed in a nightclub. Oh my god. And I wanted to write a letter to John Cena. So which did he got? Well, I couldn't believe that Carlito had John Cena stabbed at a nightclub.
Kayfabe got you, man.
We'll never die. Frame alive.
If I ever met John Cena, I would probably have that weird interaction of like, man, like him, Carlito stabbed you, man. He can do what he thinks. You're a 30-year-old man now.
That's awesome. So, uh, talk about, how you first got into wrestling and what made you want to, try it, in your wrestling career.
I was a manager at a sporting goods store at Big Five if you're on the West Coast. And I quit on Friday and I signed up for wrestling school on Monday.
Ah,
It's just one of those things. I want to do it. You call and I would just want to make sure the location is the location that I see on the website. And it's like, oh, here's the pricing plan. We can work through payments. I said, you don't have to sell me anything. I just want to know that this is the actual address. I'll be there tomorrow. So I
nice.
called on Monday. Tuesday, I go in, and that was literally the journey. I go in, and D'Lo Brown. Each day had a different head trainer assigned. Tuesday was D'Lo Brown's day from the Nation of Domination back in
Oh, that's
WWE.
Shout out, D'Lo.
Shout out
you gotta
D'Lo.
recognize.
And literally that first day, I just learned how to bump. I
Yeah.
didn't do anything else except learn how to bump. And maybe of 3 hours, I maybe got in two good bumps. And it was just one of those from the get-go though, of, "Oh, man, I'm mad that I haven't been doing that I had didn't start this sooner. This is so much fun. I love this already." And all I did was fall on my back for 3 hours.
Wow. So like during the 3 hours, you only really had two good bumps, is what you mentioned. That's crazy. I bet your back was like red.
Yes. My back was red, and then it's also you gotta let, actual people who know what they're doing,
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
done some ring time too. It wasn't just me constantly flat bumping for 3 hours. But I'd wanna say when I started to learn the ropes, the first day I learned to run the ropes, and let's say this is a week later, my back was a little shredded up.
I heard that when you actually, well, not just the bumps. I heard the bumps. You do it over and over again, and it starts to get to you. But I also heard that when you do the ropes, like that shit can really like hurt you sometimes, and if you don't do it correctly, because what is the rope actually made out of?
They're different different rings. So
Yeah.
thumb rings use cable. They use the actual cables, and some rings, they're actual ropes. Now, the cable,
Wow.
they're a little springier, they're a little what am I trying to say? Springier, where you can have that more bounce
Yeah.
on the ropes. So sometimes you see that some wrestlers, that difference between a rope and a cable, just depending on which rings that you're used to working on.
Okay.
An example I can give that's recent, when Penta, when he first made his debut on Monday Night Raw, that first match that he had against Chad Gable, he went to do a little springboard move to Gable and he slips a little bit. He was able to recover, but I think that's just one of those things that WWE uses real ropes
Real
as
rope.
opposed to AEW where it's cable. And it's it's a flavor of ice cream thing. It's not like, oh, one's better than the other. It's
Yeah.
just that flavor and getting used to if you've been working on one rope, one style for a longer time.
Oh wow. Um, that's crazy, man. So do you still do it now, or?
No, I've been out of wrestling for a couple of years now. I had to make the back when I was trying to be a big radio star, had to make the decision on what I wanted to do because there would be some weekdays that and out in Knox Pro out in LA, that's Rikishi school. Rikishi, and he runs it with his cousin, the Black Pearl, as well. And so they had weekday shows, so they'd have shows on Wednesday that would stream on Twitch, and I would call out of work, and I can't make it today because I'm about to go get maybe just a hot dog and a handshake, but I just want to be able to wrestle and be able to hone my craft a little more. But once you start moving up the ranks a little bit in the radio world, it's like, well, I can't keep calling off of work or using my sick days to keep chasing the wrestling dream. One career is moving up a little bit higher than the other, but wrestling for me, it was always the most rewarding part. I mean, never making it out, I'll say outside of the hot dog and handshake phase. The biggest thing that I really ever did was the first Double or Nothing with AEW, that first pay-per-view they had here in Vegas. Was an extra for that enhancement talent. Was a part of the group, I guess, that would go on to be the Dark Order,
Mhm.
like a tag team, a big multi-man tag match, and the lights go out. We're beating on everybody. Part of the Dark Order, part of the Dark Order, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, and that was super cool because it's over 10,000 people in the MGM Grand Garden Arena, and I'm looking at myself on the big screen. I'm looking at myself on the screen as we are doing the beatdown. Kind of missed the cue a little bit when the lights splashed back out and we were supposed to be back in the ring, but it was just one of those moments of like, oh my gosh, is this what it's like? The goosebumps of doing that,
Yeah.
being on pay per view, like, oh, that's probably the most fun I've ever had.
What was your wrestling name and what was your finisher?
My wrestling name was Dynamite Dmon. I wanted my name to still be my name,
Yeah.
and because of the media work that I did, I didn't want to, whatever Jones or something, to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
well, I'm still Dmon, So people were following me, just keep it all in one brand there. But my finisher was the Dynamite Stunner, and it was a springboard stunner off of the second rope.
Okay.
So that was good. And one of my coaches, he gave me that because I was thinking of a cutter off of the second rope. But then a coach says to me, "How many people do cutters nowadays? How about maybe make it a stunner just to make it a little bit that extra little difference that can make you stand out a little bit more." So it was definitely, I like the move because the different variation is it wasn't a springboard jump off of the second rope. It was more of a run
Run.
into the second rope and jump off of it. And as I cradle my opponent's head and running off into the second rope, as opposed to just a direct springboard jump off.
When you say you did a stunner, so I imagine because a cutter is more when you're grabbing their head and your whole body falls down.
Yes, you land flat with them as in
Yeah.
our case,
You land
as opposed,
on your bottom,
yes,
kind of like a
of course,
Stone
like
Cold Stunner. Yeah.
RKO as opposed to a Stone
Or
Cold Stunner.
yeah. Cool. Cool. All right, man. So moving forward to WWE, uh, and all of what's going on right now, and leading up to Elimination Chamber this weekend, and the road to WrestleMania. How do you think things are going to play out in the storylines that are currently happening right now?
It's so hard to tell because you have the in Monday Night Raw, I feel like things are a little bit more solidified, where you can say, "Hey, we know the main event Jey Uso, he's taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight title." But the big match, the Elimination Chamber, you win that, you get to take on presumably Cody at WrestleMania. It's just so up in the air. And then you got The Rock coming back, and he cuts that cryptic "I want your soul" promo, and we don't know if The Rock is actually gonna be involved in WrestleMania in a physical capacity or who's gonna win the Elimination Chamber. So I feel like what you've seen with WWE these past couple of weeks is, when Cody's cutting his promo and Seth comes and interrupts him, or Drew McIntyre. It's just one of those things of reading the room and seeing who can get the biggest reaction with Cody, because of everyone in the Elimination Chamber outside of Logan Paul. I don't think any of us expect Logan Paul to main event WrestleMania. I think every 5 other competitors that you can say that's a good main event for WrestleMania.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with that person challenging for the WWE Championship out of John Cena, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, or Seth Rollins, John Cena. All of those guys. Oh yeah, John Cena versus Cody. Sign me up. Drew McIntyre, his revenge storyline, him wanting to get his world title back against Cody Rhodes. Sign me up. Seth Rollins, they can run it back. Last year, teaming together for WrestleMania. This year, going against each other for that championship that Seth helped Cody win. All of the storylines make sense. So I just don't know where they're gonna go, because CM Punk didn't even mention CM Punk. Where if CM Punk
Yeah.
is if he were to win it, it's just so many competitors that they could do this with, that it all makes sense, and I would sign me up, take my money for all of it. But I guess that's the path, and I think that The Rock coming back, that throws a little bit that extra wrinkle in it that makes it so unknown.
What do you think? That let's talk about that part. Like, what does that really mean? Like, you mentioned all the people that are in elimination chamber. You're right. That most of these, all those 6 guys, minus maybe Logan Paul, because no one wants to see Logan Paul, right?
Logan Paul, dog.
Everybody else could be corporate champions. I mean, would you like to see John Cena finally become heel on his last run?
I would not want to see John Cena become a heel in his last run. Let him become the ultimate babyface.
I said.
Let him be the ultimate babyface. Word life John Cena, that is still one of the best
Yeah.
heels to me. I mean, I remember a promo that he cut on Brock Lesnar when Brock was like his first reign as WWE champion. He was like, "Hey, this is lockdown, and you just dropped the soap." I mean, Johnson had bars back in the day.
I feel like they were trying to make him like the heel in that the Doctor of Thugonomics, but that's where he
He got too
found his niche, and that's where he popped, right? So
You know
But
what it is? I say after the Royal Rumble, we were all there. We watched the Rumble together, right? We didn't see the press conference, but we all heard the press conference from John. I and Ryan and I we were just talking about this on Saturday, and decided I finally get to talk to Dmon. Oh my god! I mean, it was fun hearing Ryan like live out his childhood through Dmon. It was great. So I just sat down. I enjoyed the ride, but no, I mean, I think so. Ryan and I have talked about this over the weekend, and we feel like, or at least me, I feel like where they're going with John is like this, like what they did with Roman is like this anti-hero, not so much heel, but not so much like baby face. It's like the in between. I feel like that's what they're doing with John Cena. Now, whether that leads to his 17th championship, I don't know. So, how do you feel if John maybe he's not the ultimate baby face, but like what if how do you feel if he plays like that anti-hero Roman Reigns-ish kind of role?
Well, I feel like when you mentioned the press conference, I feel like that's right along the lines that he's in, because what do most wrestling fans hate? They hate part timers who just get to come in and they only wrestle 2 or 3 matches a year, but they're always at the top and don't have to earn anything. And that's exactly what John Cena is right now. He holds a press conference to just say, I'm entering into the Elimination Chamber. And everyone else who was in that Elimination Chamber has taken shots on him, either jokingly or just straight up, like a Drew McIntyre, where he's cutting a full heel promo on him, where it says, I had to earn my spot into the Elimination Chamber.
yeah.
For any other wrestler besides John Cena, they would be outraged by this. Roman Reigns, if he did this right now, they would say, are they trying to make us hate Roman Reigns? Are they trying to make Roman Reigns a heel again by just giving him a spot where when we don't see him on TV every week? So John Cena, with the matter of factness of whatever this character is going into, this last iteration of John Cena, the matter of factness of it's best for business for me to headline WrestleMania. That does sound like a corporate
That
champion.
sounds
As you
huge
mentioned
for
earlier,
me, man.
it sounds like a corporate champion, but
Yeah.
I just don't think that people on this last ride, and you say enjoy the ride, people are gonna enjoy John Cena too much to boo him. The first time, just imagine this: if John Cena did, oh, he low blows Cody Rhodes and he's now the corporate champion. he might get booed that night, but the next time he's on TV, he's getting cheered because people are going to be so happy that they get John Cena. It would be the instant, not cut off your nose to spite your face, but sometimes, oh, the cool heel, now he's getting cheered. You see, like with MJF in AEW, where it's like, oh, we have to turn on babyface because as a heel, people just cheer him too much. That would be the exact same thing, but it would happen instantly, I feel, if John Cena turned heel. People would be so excited that it's happening that they wouldn't even want to boo him. They would just cheer it because they finally get what they wanted for over 20 years.
But that's why I'm saying, like, you're not giving him the ultimate heel, but you're not also giving him that face. You're kind of playing that you're blurring the lines between heel and face. And I feel like if you're gonna ride this out with John, you might as well make him like an anti-hero Robin Hood type figure. Cause yeah, he's a part-timer, but he also still wants to wrestle, at least for this, for the last year. So I mean, this whole scene with John Cena bring him back for this final run. It's very interesting, and I don't think we've ever seen this with any other wrestler that's had like their final run or whatever. So this, I think, it's like very enjoyable to watch as a wrestling fan.
For me, deep down at the end of the day, I don't think John Cena wants the record. I truly believe that he doesn't want the record. Like if you gave him like the truth serum, I don't think he wants the record, but he does think that it's best for business. But for me, the best for business aspect of it in John Cena's character would be that guy who you mentioned, the anti-hero, but sometimes the anti-hero doesn't always win. So I think that him coming up short would be the better story for John Cena to finish out his career as the clock runs down, as we see the fact that his career is finite and he ultimately doesn't end up achieving what his goal is to be, because at the end of the day we all know the cliche, life isn't fair. So I think that would be the more heartbreaking storyline and even the more realistic storyline that John Cena just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I mean, that's sounds like a WWE scripted writing right there. I mean, that would be perfect. It the thing is, it's like you don't want it to be too um scripted and predictable. You kind of, especially with John Cena's story, go to like where, Jey Uso right now is and how his story is kind of, he was always seen as a tag team partner, never a singles competitor until, the whole thing with, Roman Reigns and becoming the main event Jey Uso, and so now he won Royal Rumble. I didn't think he was gonna win Royal Rumble, especially the last 3. I think we all saw it together, so we were all kinda shocked. We thought, and then when it finally got down to John Cena and, Jey Uso, we thought, John Cena was probably gonna, he's gonna main event WrestleMania, get close to the 17th title. So you never know where they're going with the storylines, and, I think it's, and then you throw Rock in there, it's like a wrench. Like, okay, what are we doing now? It's either it is part of the storyline the whole time, or it's trying to bring up, ticket sales or whatnot. But I mean, I'm enjoying it as a wrestling fan, and I'm really excited to see what happens. This Saturday.
My fantasy booking aspect for this would be that if we're going to see a corporate champion or someone who's going to be the person to take out Cody Rhodes because you have to be a heel,
Yeah,
because he's the ultimate babyface,
yeah.
I would like to see it be CM Punk. Paul Heyman still owes him that mystery favor.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah, so Paul Heyman still owes him that mystery favor, and he is what does he call himself now? The wise man. I was going to call him the advocate, but that was for Brock Lesnar. He is now the wise man. So maybe he gets in The Rock's ear about CM Punk is the one that we need. Cody doesn't want to be your corporate champion. Cody doesn't want to give you his soul.
Yeah.
CM Punk has said on many times that he's the devil himself.
Now I want to jump ship because this storyline is so intriguing, right? I mean, this is probably one of the more intriguing ones since last year's WrestleMania. I mean, we all knew, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, back, they run it back for part 2. But this storyline is so unique because, like you said earlier, there's so many storylines that make sense. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, right? Fuck Logan Paul. He has nothing to do with this. So,
We had a conversation last week. We're like,
we don't like this whole Logan Paul.
No.
It just doesn't make sense why they're pushing him. But then we said that he's a Paul Levesque guy,
He's a money guy. He's
the
money.
money guy.
He's good.
I watched the SmackDown segment with Cody Rhodes and Rock, and I just watched the Rollins Rhodes segment you brought up earlier from Raw.
Which was good, by the way.
I was talking about it. I was watching it over and over and over again, and like it kind of, it's like it's gotten me down like this like rabbit hole, and like you see on like wrestling TikTok and wrestling social media, people have their theories and all that. So Ryan and I, we talked about this is before Monday Night Raw. So this is right after the SmackDown segment. I think there will be a corporate champion. I don't know if it'll be. I think Punk will be champion. I don't know if it'll be corporate champion. I think Cody will turn heel. I think so. Like everybody say, "Oh, corporate CM Punk, blah blah blah," but it just doesn't make sense for him to now go with everything that he stood against. Was against corporate everything, right? He he fought against corporation. He's a rule breaker and all that. And maybe he's older, maybe he's wiser, maybe he is corporate champion. But with his character, I think his character's always been the same, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, it's always been the same. So why break it now? There's no real reason to break it. So my theory is, I think Punk wins Elimination Chamber. Um, he's gonna face Cody at Mania. There's not gonna be really a heel because you have two baby faces, but there, like you said, Demond, there has to be a heel. Who is the heel? It's gonna be Cody Rhodes because there is gonna be a full circle moment. Remember last year's Royal Rumble, it was Punk and Rhodes, right? Punk said, "I'm gonna throw you out," but Rhodes, eventually won and he won the championship. Then it wasn't the first run. It was like earlier. I think it was like a few Raws ago where Rhodes and Punk had their segment on Monday Night Raw. They brought up, they didn't bring up Rumble, but they're like, okay, well, you're a champion. I'm going to Elimination Chamber. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna see a Mania, and I think we're gonna see Rhodes, Punk, Night 2 main event WrestleMania here in Vegas. Punk is gonna win the championship, right? Punk's gonna main event WrestleMania. He's always wanted to do that, and then Punk's gonna win, and then Rhodes is like all defeated, and he's like, you know what? I want it back, but I want to do it with The Rock. But they're gonna break away from this whole bloodline story because the bloodline story is starting to die away. There's no reason to have it anymore. It's run its course. So now what do? You gotta have a bigger heel because Roman Reigns is not your big heel anymore. So you gotta bring in Cody Rhodes
The
and
next
No,
biggest star.
I gotta vouch for my guys because maybe not Solo, but I feel like Solo gets too much hate online. That's my guy right there. Solo, one of the first guys that ever went on the road with, as a wrestler. One of the first guys that got me paid as a wrestler, to work a show. So Solo's always gonna be in my book. But Jacob Fatu, what do you mean the next big heel? Jacob Fatu, yeah, that I mean. I mean, the Bloodline story, I don't think it's going anywhere. I am just as intrigued as Solo maybe not having the respect and admiration of Jacob Fatu and seeing where that goes because when it comes to the promo inside the ropes, I think that Jacob Fatu is one of the best wrestlers in all of WWE. So when you talk about the new heel, and let's say maybe you're like, oh, who's that guy going to be? Roman Reigns isn't there anymore. Maybe it doesn't have that same oomph as like a collective unit as a faction, the Bloodline. But I think you could put Jacob Fatu. If you told me right now, oh, by the grace of God, who knows what worked out storylines, we'll fix it in post. Jacob Fatu is going to be headlining WrestleMania. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
yeah, no, I mean Fatu. They're put our first episode. I told Ryan, I was like, they're pushing this guy. They're pushing this guy very hard, and you see it actually come to fruition. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, Jacob Fatu is a hell of a wrestler. I mean, the guy's like what 200 some pounds, jumping off the top rope, doing backflips. So
He's good. I like when he cuts a promo too. It just you feel like the fire, like and, he brings that obviously the the Bay Area,
Yeah.
lingo, but I dig it. I mean, a person like that is just like you believe it, right? And he's like this scary Samoan werewolf. That's what my son Addison calls him. He's like, so Samoan werewolf? Like, oh, you mean Jacob Fatu? But no, yeah, they're definitely breeding, you know, because let's face it, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, they're getting up there in age too. I think all three of them are like under 40 right now. How much longer do they have? And um, you gotta breed these new superstars to take over. And I look at it as like the NBA. Like the NBA, like all the superstars, like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, they're all getting old. Who's gonna take the mantle once those guys are gone? And you look at it at the same thing in WWE or just like in the wrestling world in general. I mean, I grew up, watching, Undertaker, Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, all those guys, and it's just crazy to see, like, as time goes on, they get older and, like, who are the new superstars? Who's that who's gonna take the company, over, when all the other guys are gone, and Jacob Fatu definitely is someone that comes into mind for sure, man.
Let's dive into Elimination Chamber, like the actual match, right?
Okay.
So we got CM Punk, we got John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. Who gets eliminated first? I say Logan Paul because fuck Logan Paul.
That's a tough one. Who gets eliminated first? I mean, as someone when it comes to their storyline to WrestleMania, the one that I would say that I'm least interested in right now would be Damian Priest. So maybe if Damian Priest starts off the match, it has a good run, but is the first to get eliminated there, yes. But you need Logan Paul for the spot where there's obviously, someone's got to crash his pad or he's got to jump off of something. He's got to give you that viral moment that Logan Paul is known for on pay-per-views. So you need Logan Paul for that viral moment. He can't be gone first. That's just like my process of elimination there. But I do think that the final two are gonna be John Cena and CM Punk. The place is gonna be electric to see those two go on mano a mano for one, maybe what could be the last time. And I don't know how he does it, but I think that Phil Brooks, CM Punk, he's gonna hit that go to sleep on John Cena, and that's gonna be it end of, and he's gonna cash his ticket to WrestleMania.
All right.
I'm so torn, man, because like I want to see John Cena get that 17th title, but then you know, I love CM Punk too. He's a Chicago native, like I am, so I root for CM Punk. That's it though. It's just he's the best in the world, man. But going against the goat, you're definitely right, Damon, that if those two are the last in the match, it's definitely going to be electric because there's history there too. It will be interesting, and then we don't even know if there's going to be any like surprises too. Like I've been hearing, things that maybe we didn't even talk about Roman Reigns. Like he's not in the match, but is he gonna, is he gonna go in there and try to mess things up for somebody? Can mess it up for Seth Rollins. He can mess it up for. That's more likely that he'll if he does show up, he'll be gunning for Seth. But it's just endless possibilities of what could happen at the end of that night.
That's what makes it so much fun. That's what makes it so fun to be a wrestling fan.
For sure. Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, my whole red, right? Punk Rhodes. I think Punk's gonna win too. I mean, we said the same thing about Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, this is Elimination Chamber, and it should have been John Cena and
Oh, it's Damian Priest. Damian Priest is gonna win it.
no, I totally agree. I think CM Punk definitely deserves his WrestleMania moment. And even I probably mentioned this sometime earlier in our earlier episodes, but he definitely deserves a WrestleMania moment, or at least his WrestleMania main event. It's been too long. He's overdue. It's just a matter of when he's going to get it. And then real quickly, we got about like 2 minutes left. So, but the women's elimination chamber, real quick, who do you think wins?
Just because this is a WrestleMania match, I want to see Bianca. I want to see her versus Rhea Ripley. That's all. I want to see that match. Headline of WrestleMania.
Ryan, who do you think is gonna win?
I'm looking at the list right now. So Bianca, Liv, Bailey, Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, and Naomi. Damn. I'm gonna have to ride with you, Dmon. I mean, I love Bianca. I love Bianca Belair. My next choice would probably maybe Alexa Bliss, but she just came back, so.
Well, Charlotte Flair just came back after 2 years, and they're giving her a resume.
Yeah, that's true. All right, man. Well, Dmon, man, it was great catching up with you. We'll definitely have you come back closer to WrestleMania, man.
I can't wait.
All right. This is it for Across All Arenas. We'll catch you guys next time.
Shout out Dmon. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.